McDonald's is abandoning the poors, as they say. And I think this is actually a pretty big deal. It is not a good sign economically, and obviously it's not a good sign for McDonald's in general. We've talked about basically since kind of near the end of the Biden administration, how not just, fast food, not just McDonald's, but fast food in general has gotten crazy, overly expensive. Like a double cheeseburger meal with fries and a drink's like $15. It's absolutely crazy. Well, the McDonald's CEO came out and basically said, yeah, low-income people can't afford our food anymore. Don't care. I don't know. I mean, look, McDonald's to me has always been, I still stand by that their breakfast is pretty good, but I could tell you I have not eaten lunch or dinner at McDonald's in a very long time. And I don't judge people that do. I just mean I don't leave the house like very often. And, if I'm going out to dinner, I'm generally going to a restaurant. But before we get into this, I just have a super quick word from this video sponsor. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Aura. If you want to see something crazy, just throw your name into Google and see all of the results that come up. You can pretty much Google anyone or anything and find out all sorts of private information like that. These sites are run by data brokers who collect your personal information and package it up and sell it to anyone who wants it. And usually it's scammers and spammers who want it. These guys are printing money, and it's completely legal in America. Brokers are legally required to remove your info if you ask them to, but they make it super hard to do so. Or you can do what I do and use Aura, the sponsor of this video. Aura identifies data brokers exposing your information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Give Aura a few weeks and you'll stop seeing your information on these sketchy sites when you search for yourself. Aura also continuously monitors the dark web and alerts you if they find your personal information has been exposed. And they're going to let you know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access your credit or bank accounts. Plus, they give you $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also have a world-class VPN that lets you browse and shop safely from any location you choose. Does your current VPN have all those other features too? Probably not. You can go to my link, aura.com/recording, to try 14 days for free. That will be enough time for Aura to find which data brokers are selling your information and start submitting opt-out requests on your behalf. I've been using Aura for a very long time. I absolutely love it, and I know you'll love it too. Remember, use my link in the description over at aura.com/thequartering. McDonald's is losing its lowest income customers, and it's not hard to see why. Traffic among lower income diners fell by nearly double digits last quarter, industry-wide, as higher prices drive them towards cheaper grocery store staples and rival deals. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point to here. Yes, I know Trump is doing some good things and my economy, is my stocks are up, but I would argue that groceries and food are still pretty expensive. Beef is still pretty expensive. And when your average family can't afford to go to McDonald's, I think that, for a while, we could kind of blame McDonald's for that and say like, hey, they're price gouging, because basically ever since the lockdowns, they've been price gouging everybody. But now it's more concerning to me. 42 million Americans on SNAP, and the ones that aren't can't even afford McDonald's anymore. So McDonald's has not only priced itself out of the market, but I'm worried about the middle class. When I grew up, I'm sure things are different now. I don't know I guess maybe if you grew up in the 80s and 90s and you have kids now, like it used to be a special treat for my family to go to McDonald's, especially at like Halloween time to get those buckets. Remember they would do those, you would get those boo buckets. That was such a cool thing. But like McDonald's was still a treat for our family. It wasn't like, we weren't eating there all the time. We would eat, at home. Now, we have the lowest cattle herd since 1951 or so, and we have screwworm hammering our beef imports. We're trying to buy beef from Venezuela or something like that. Beef is a problem, but that doesn't really excuse the filet of fish prices or the chicken McNuggets or the French fries or everything else that's going up there. The results are in. A look at McDonald's third quarter earnings released Tuesday after the closing bell show that the fast food giant's U.S. same-store sales increased 2.5% over the same period, up 3.6 globally. Well, that's because they increased prices, but missing analyst expectations with adjusted earnings per share. Shares, dig deeper into the numbers, and they show the growing economic disparity among American customers. Now, this is the kind of the dark aspect of it that I wanted to talk about. We continue to see bifurcated customer base with quick service restaurant traffic from lower income consumers declining nearly double digits in the third quarter, a trend that persisted for nearly 2 years. What a coincidence, ever since the lockdowns. McDonald's president and CEO said during his Wednesday earnings call. In contrast, quick service traffic growth among higher income consumers remains strong, increasing nearly double digits in the quarter. Do you guys see the problem here? Do you guys see the problem here? What this says about the state of the economy right now? You know what I mean? Like, this means that low-income people can't afford to eat at McDonald's anymore, and higher income people have to eat at McDonald's now. So high-income people who are probably eating at a nicer restaurant for lunch, now they're eating at McDonald's, and low-income people can't afford it. What does that say about the economy? At least the price of food. Now, I think people are more educated than ever, in terms of it's not exactly healthy to be eating at McDonald's, but that really hasn't changed over the years. The more people learned about McDonald's, it didn't really stop people from eating there. If I want to go get a USDA prime ribeye steak, it is $33.99 a pound where I live right now. A single steak, I get one steak a week on Mondays to try and start my week off right, is $50 to $60. That is crazy. I couldn't even imagine, if you have 2 kids. Now, a lot of people will say, I would never eat at McDonald's. I don't eat at McDonald's. Okay, well, insert your random fast food restaurant that you like. The same is true there. Burger King, Wendy's, all this kind of stuff. I think people you have a combination of people who not only cannot afford McDonald's anymore, but you also have people who have remembered that you can make a pretty decent quarter pounder with cheese at home for less money. You could go home, you could make a half dozen egg McMuffins with you could make half a dozen egg McMuffins for the price of a single egg McMuffin. You know what I'm saying? People have also gotten real sick of getting ripped off. People are just real sick of getting ripped off, and they moved on. They said in an effort to deliver sustainable growth in this quote challenging environment, the CEO said the company will be delivering everyday value and affordability, menu innovation, and compelling marketing that keeps bringing new customers through the door. To that end, they said on the earnings call that they are bringing back extra value meals with a $5 sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle meal. I think that's probably a fair price. An $8 10-piece McNugget meal. That's actually bonkers. A 10-piece McNugget meal when I was young was like $3 or $4. $8 is actually crazy. And if you're a grown man, a 10-piece nugget isn't enough to fill you. Well, maybe 10-piece. What do you think? 10-piece, I think. I would always order the 20-piece, but a 20-piece used to be $1.99 on Monday nights. You could go to McDonald's on Monday night and Tuesday night. It was either $1.99 or $2.99, and you could get a 20-piece McNugget. Now, so I'd try to go through it, but if you're a chonk like me, I guess 10-piece with fries and a drink is probably enough. That's probably enough. But $8, that's a lot. They're going to try and do these extra value meals again. But don't forget, McDonald's fans warn the chain itself is pricing. So we talked about this. The egg sausage, the customer in New Orleans was shocked to discover the price of a single egg McMuffin was $8.29. $8.29 for just the sandwich. That's not the meal. The meal is $12. A patron in New York said they paid $12 for a sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin, hash brown, and a large diet soda. So that's an extra value meal. It's $12 for a breakfast extra value meal. I mean, I think you have a combination of people probably could make excuses to still eat there, but they're probably just just over getting ripped off. And, that $30 minimum wage probably isn't helping. All that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about in a different story later about DoorDash. DoorDash is way down too because people are like, yo, I think there's kind of this bubbling brew. I hope that it's more people just saying, hey, I'm just going to eat at home because it's healthier and cheaper, and less, I can't afford it. But certainly there's some combination of these people that just can't afford even McDonald's anymore. And when they're saying higher earners are eating McDonald's, then that means they can't afford what they used to eat. Now they're going to McDonald's. This is a definite sign on the economy, and also a sign, remember when they had the Big Mac meal that was $17.59? You see, demand $25 an hour for what should be a minimum wage job for a high schooler, and this is the result. Yeah, you have this typhoon of crazy high minimum wage, high beef costs, price gouging, and in general, people feeling a little bit less confident about their paycheck with all these layoffs and AI and stuff like that. I think we're in for a pretty rough 2026, like a pretty tumultuous 2026. And I would caution people on making big purchases. Start making changes now so you're ahead of the curve. I'm not saying doom and gloom is coming. I'm just saying if you used to eat out 2 to 3 times a week, eat out once a week and then put $25 in a jar, that kind of stuff. And just start. I just got this weird feeling, and maybe it's the leftover orange chicken I had for lunch. That could be it too. But it'll be interesting to watch how this trend plays out with McDonald's, because I feel like they're kind of at the front of where the economy is going. But so let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And I hope that you'll tune in. Continue to tune in.